Hello, my friends, and welcome to day 2 of reveals. This one is inarguably less packed than our yesterday's reveals. This one is elementals. So if you missed neutrals, I will link it up top right now for you to check out. But otherwise, let's head into our elemental reveals. We will begin our elemental reveals with what we are losing, what's leaving. There's actually not too much leaving here. We only have 2 minions that are going away. Magmalock, which came back and is now leaving again, and the Marine Matriarch, which was that minion that gave you spells when it took damage. Now, as for returning or change minions, we have nothing returning, but we do have a couple things changed. We saw in our most recent balance patch that Living Azerite went up to tier 4, and which is a much healthier place for it, I think. And in this patch, we're seeing it trade places with Landlubbers coming down to tier 3. So Living Azerite is still remaining on tier 4. Landlubber is now moving down to 3. Also changing tavern tiers, moving up to tier 4 is Wildfire Elemental. And that's actually it. That's all for our returning or change. Now we have 3 new minions joining the Battlegrounds on the elemental side of things. The first one is a name that feels funny to say. This is Moss of the Schloss. This is a tier 5 minion. Whenever another friendly elemental dies, gain its maximum stats once per combat, and the golden does it twice. This does feel pretty important in terms of how you position it, what you target with taunt, things like that on your board. So like for instance, the Flourishing Frostling will still be around. This is on tier 5, but you know what else is still around is the Bramble Witch, which is on tier 5 and reduces stats to 3/3. However, if you taunt your Flourishing Frostling, which gains stats wherever this is, that means that the Bramble Witch cannot counter it. So I feel like I would just always have a Flourishing Frostling, and I would just always taunt it. On tier 3, we have 2 minions joining us. The first is the Sleeping Sea Glass, which is very, very cute. This is a choose one. Double this minion's attack or health, and the golden does triple. So it's triple the attack or triple the health. I like the utility of the choose one where it is not a battle cry, so it can't be impacted by Bran. And I think that this is a pretty healthy minion to add to the game. Usually doubling or tripling can be abused, but in this case it can't. Last on tier 3 is Bountiful Bedrock. At the end of every 2 turns, get a random elemental, and the golden gives you 2 random elementals. This reminds me of the trumpeter. Where you sold and got elementals, but this one is at the end of every 2 turns. Noted that this is going to be base statted elementals, so based on how large those elementals are getting in your shop, whether you're scaling them with Azerite or maybe some trinkets we're going to talk about here in a second, might not be the best thing to play, but could be good for a mid game to just start collecting an elemental board. Okay, I think I gave some spoilers there for our trinkets, so let's just go right into those. We're gonna start with our lesser trinkets here. This is for 2 gold, our Kodo Leather Pouch. After you buy a card, give a random friendly minion +2/+1. For 2 gold and then gaining these stats, the stats are not that great, +2/+1, but you know, if you're cycling, it's not bad. This one, however, feels insane. This is the Demonblood Gourd. It's 1 gold. And you get a spellcraft. Choose a friendly minion. It consumes a random minion in the tavern to gain its stats. We are talking about things that stayed in. Notably, the Shell Elemental is also staying in. And we'll just leave that right there. No, but actually though, this seems kind of very, 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 very good. This next one is going to make someone in our little community so happy. This is for comic. We have our Nomi Sticker. It's 4 gold. After you play an elemental, elementals in the tavern have +1/+1 this game. We're getting Nomi back. In a way, in a sticker, in a trinket. We love Nomi around here. Nomi's the best. Also for 4 gold, we have Felblood Portrait. Get a slimy Felblood. Your fiery and slimy Felbloods give attack and health. So, happy sway, because Felemental comp is back. My one trick is back with our slimy and our fiery Felbloods, and we can Rylac and we can make our shop so big. It's so good. Lots of 4 gold here. Next for 4 gold, we have our Dalaran Cheese Wheel. Minions in the tavern have +1/+1. Upgrades every 3 times you refresh. This feels fantastic, and especially when you're playing elementals and cycling a ton and using the recycling wraith and just getting all of the rolls. This feels so, so good. Speaking of that trumpeter minion that we had in elementals, we have our lava lamp. This is 3 gold. After you sell 4 minions, get a random elemental. Notably, this is minions. This is not other elementals. So you just have to sell 4 minions to get a random elemental. This feels super good, but similar to the point that I made with the Bedrock, I think that if you start getting to the point where your elementals are getting very, very large in the shop, you're going to be really sad when you triple it with something that is base statted and you lose out on that stat value from the triple. Also for 4 gold, we have our Primordial Terrarium. After you play an elemental, your next tavern spell costs 1 less. So this encourages cycling elementals as you are playing a living Azerite comp, and I think that this is really, really good. And last but not least, for our lesser trinkets, we have Darnassus Pie. I'm not gonna lie, rhymed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% on this one. It is 1 gold. Minions in the tavern have +1/+1 for each minion you've sold this turn. This is requiring some pretty heavy cycling to get value from it. But I mean, you could get very minimal value from it, right? You can sell like 1 or 2 minions and the minions have that much value. And when you get to the point where you're playing a whole lot of things, cycling a whole lot of things, this could stack very well. I'm erring on the side of it might not be my favorite thing, but it might end up being my favorite thing. We'll see. Okay, we're moving on to our greater trinkets for elementals, and some of these are going to be a repeat in the way they are a better version of some of the lesser trinkets. For instance, we're starting with our Kodo Leather Pouch. This remains at 2 gold. But instead of giving +2/+1, it gives +4/+4. So after you buy a card, give a random friendly minion +4/+4. This next one is disgusting. This is the Azerite Portrait at 5 gold. You get a living Azerite, and your living Azerites also give stats to friendly minions. There is no downside for your elementals. They scale along with the minions in the tavern. That's gross. But speaking of gross, Nomi is also a greater trinket. This is 5 gold, and instead of giving +1/+1, it gives +2/+2. Here's another repeat. We have the Dalaran Cheese Wheel. It's 4 gold, as it was on lesser trinket side, and minions in the tavern have +2/+2, upgrades every 3 times you refresh. It's good, you're cycling. I like it. Especially by this point in the game, it's only 3 turns, but a lot happens in those 3 turns. Now, we already talked about this minion at one point, but this is the Jarred Frostling. It's only 3 gold. Start of combat, give 2 friendly elementals the death rattle of summon a flourishing Frostling. If you are playing a comp that is a lot of scaling, a lot of cycling elementals, this is so good. That's so many stats whenever they summon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's really good. Next, we have Shaman Prayer Beads. This is 3 gold. After you buy 2 Battlecry minions, get a random Battlecry minion. It does help with the cycling, and you know, we do have those Battlecry elementals. I'm pretty 50-50 on how I feel about this being combined in an elemental situation. This is definitely one of those. We're gonna have to see how this goes. And a greater version of another lesser trinket. This is our last one. We have Darnassus Pie again at 3 gold this time, and minions in the tavern have +2/+2 for each minion you've sold this turn. I want to be wrong about this one. We'll see. We'll see. It probably just has to do with the way I play, but also I play a lot of APM. I don't know. We'll see. That's probably the one that I'm least hopeful for. But that being said, there's so much that I'm very excited about with elementals. Alrighty, that's all we have for you today. So let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know what you're excited about. And tomorrow we have even more fun, exciting things to look forward to. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.